The first time I saw her ship, it was falling out of the sky like a dying star. I was alone in Bay 12 of the Kestrel Orbital Repair Yard, halfway through recalibrating a freighter's aging plasma manifold, when every alarm in the station began to howl. Through the reinforced viewport, the void above the gas giant Helios shimmered violently. Something massive tore through subspace and emerged trailing fire. Unregistered vessel entering atmosphere. The station AI droned. Trajectory unstable. I stepped closer to the glass. The ship was unlike anything I'd seen in 20 years of engineering. It wasn't angular like Terran craft or segmented like the Carthan carriers. It curved, elegant, almost organic, as if sculpted from liquid silver. Veins of blue light flickered across its hull, sputtering like a failing heartbeat. Then it vanished behind Helios upper cloud bands. A minute later, my comm lit up. "Rowan," barked Station Chief Marek. "You're the only senior engineer on shift. Get to Dock Spindle 3. We're receiving a distress lock." "From that thing?" I asked. "From that thing." I ran. Dock Spindle 3 was designed for diplomatic vessels and oversized cruisers. By the time I reached it, the outer bay doors were yawning open to receive the crippled craft. Tug drones swarmed around the alien ship, grappling it carefully as it drifted in, engines coughing blue flame. Up close, it was breathtaking. Its hull shimmered with a faint pearlescent sheen, etched with intricate patterns that pulsed faintly despite the damage. Sections of plating were torn open, revealing a lattice of crystalline structures instead of conventional wiring. "This isn't in any registry," Marek muttered beside me. "No faction insignia. No transponder code." The vessel settled into the docking clamps with a metallic groan. A moment later, the central airlock irised open, and she stepped out. She was taller than most humans, her posture straight and unyielding despite the obvious strain in her movements. Her skin held a soft luminescent undertone, like moonlight reflecting off snow. Long silver hair flowed down her back in waves that seemed almost weightless. Her eyes were a deep violet, intense, intelligent, and assessing. Behind her stood two armored figures, equally tall, bearing weapons that hummed softly with contained energy. Everyone in the bay froze. "I am Queen Aerolith of the Varelian Dominion," she said, her voice resonant and calm despite the chaos around her. "My starship requires immediate repair." Marek blinked. "Queen," he croaked. She looked directly at me. "You," she said. "Me?" I asked. "You are the one who understands machines not as tools, but as living systems." My heart skipped. That's oddly specific. Her gaze sharpened. "Will you repair my ship, human?" I looked at the twisted hull behind her, at the alien tech no one here understood. "Yes," I said. "But I'll need access to everything." "You shall have it." She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "And in return," she added softly, "I will owe you a debt." I had no idea what that would cost. The queen without a throne. Over the next hours, I learned the truth. Aerolith's vessel, the Valithar, had been ambushed near a disputed warp corridor. Political tensions in her sector had escalated into open hostility. Her ship had barely escaped destruction. "They will pursue," she told me as we walked along the length of her vessel inside the dock. "Who will?" I asked. "Those who believe my rule threatens their power." "So, you're not just visiting?" "No," she said quietly. "I am in exile." That explained the guarded tension in her voice. Inside the Valithar, I was overwhelmed. The corridors glowed faintly beneath our feet. The walls were semi-translucent, showing flowing streams of energy within them. Consoles responded not to touch, but to proximity, reshaping themselves around her hands. "This isn't just advanced tech," I murmured. It's symbiotic. She nodded. Our ships are bonded to their sovereign. You mean? They are alive, she said simply. I stared at her. You're telling me this vessel is sentient? In a manner of speaking. It resonates with my neural signature. No wonder no one else could repair it. So, you need someone who sees machines as living systems, I said slowly. Because it actually is one. Her lips curved faintly. You understand quickly. I approached a ruptured crystalline conduit. Instead of wires, there were branching filaments that pulsed faintly when I drew near. It's in pain, I said without thinking. She looked at me sharply. Yes, she said softly. It is. Repairing the impossible. The next 3 days blurred into a haze of diagnostics, improvisation, and long hours inside the damaged core chamber. I had to interface Terran tools with alien biotech. Standard plasma welders were useless. Instead, I used low-frequency harmonic emitters to encourage the crystalline lattice to regrow. Aerolith remained close by. She never interfered, but she watched. Why risk coming to Terran space? I asked at one point. Because your species is underestimated, she replied. And because you adapt. Flattery won't make this easier. It is not flattery. It is strategy. But sometimes, when she thought I wasn't looking, there was something else in her gaze. Curiosity. On the 4th night, we stood alone in the core chamber. You have not slept, she observed. I've napped. That is insufficient. I'll rest when the reactor stops trying to implode. A faint smile flickered across her face. You are unlike your superiors. How so? They see me as a political risk. And you see a broken system that needs fixing. That's my job. No, she said softly. It is your nature. The silence that followed felt charged. I never asked, I said. Why didn't your own engineers repair it? They died protecting me. The words hit like a blow. I looked at her, not just as a queen, but as someone who had lost her people. That's why you won't leave the ship, I realized. It is all that remains of my sovereignty. I reached out and placed a hand against the crystalline core. We'll save it, I said quietly. Her gaze lingered on my hand. You speak as if it is yours as well. I hesitated. It kind of feels like it is. The bond between steel and skin. When the reactor finally stabilized, the entire ship seemed to exhale. Energy flowed smoothly through the conduits. The hull's pearlescent glow brightened, steady and strong. You have done what none other could, Aerolith said. I wiped grease and crystalline residue from my hands. We're not done. The navigation array still needs recalibration. But it lives, she said softly. She stepped closer. May I show you something? Before I could answer, she guided my hand to a panel near the core. The surface shimmered, responding to her presence. Place your hand here, she instructed. I did. The panel warmed beneath my palm. Suddenly, a rush of sensations flooded my mind, faint impressions of motion, light, distant stars. Not images exactly, but feelings. The ship remembers, she said quietly. It knows you helped it. I pulled my hand back, breath unsteady. That's impossible. In your understanding, perhaps. She studied me. You are connected now. To your ship? To me, she corrected. The air between us shifted. I realized how close we were standing. Careful, I said lightly. Your crew might think I'm trying to steal their queen. They already suspect you of far more dangerous things. Like what? Influence. Her voice had softened. And then, without warning, she reached up and brushed her fingers lightly against my cheek. The touch was cool, electric. For what you have given, she said, I owe you more than debt. I swallowed. I didn't do it for reward. I know, She leaned in and kissed me. It was brief, soft, almost reverent. When she pulled back, her eyes held something unguarded. "I will return for you," she said. The words felt like a promise carved into bone. Middle, the departure. The next morning, alarms echoed through the station. Unidentified warships had entered the outer system. "They found me," Aerolith said grimly. Through the viewport, I saw sleek, dark vessels emerging from warp. "You can't fight them," I said. "I do not intend to." "Then what?" "The Valithar can outrun them now." The weight of that truth settled between us. "You're leaving?" I said. "Yes." "When?" "Immediately." There was no time for more words. Her guards took their positions. The docking clamps released with a thunderous clang. She paused at the airlock. "I meant what I said," she told me. "I know. I will return." "Queens don't always get what they want," I replied softly. Her gaze sharpened. "This one does." And then she was gone. The Valithar launched from the dock in a blaze of blue light, accelerating toward the void. Enemy ships followed. Within seconds, they vanished into warp, and I was left standing in the empty bay. The waiting. Weeks passed. News filtered in slowly through Terran intelligence channels. Conflict had erupted in the Varelian sector. Rebel factions clashed with loyalist fleets. There were rumors of a decisive battle near the Red Corridor. No confirmation of Aerolith's fate. I returned to my work, but everything felt muted. Every ship I repaired seemed lifeless compared to the Valithar. Every docking bay seemed colder without her presence. Marek cornered me one evening. "You get attached," he said bluntly. "Occupational hazard." "She's an alien monarch, Rowan. Not a stray freighter." "I know." He studied me carefully. "You think she'll come back?" I looked out at the stars. "I don't know. But I hoped." The return. It happened 6 months later. A familiar energy signature lit up the station scanners. My heart nearly stopped. The Valithar emerged from warp, hull scarred but intact. Dock Spindle 3 opened once more. This time, when the airlock irised open, she stepped out alone. No guards. No armor. Only the quiet authority of someone who had survived war. "You won," I said. "Yes." "At what cost?" She met my gaze steadily. "Many lives." The weight of leadership etched faint lines into her expression. "I could not return sooner," she said. "I didn't expect you to." A silence stretched between us. "You are free to leave," she added. "There is no obligation. Is that what you want?" Her composure faltered, just slightly. "No." I took a step closer. "I repaired your ship," I said quietly. "But I think you repaired something in me too." "And what was that?" "The part that thought the universe was only metal and equations." Her lips curved gently. "Then perhaps," she said, "we are even." "Not quite," I replied. I reached out and took her hand. "You still owe me." "For what?" "For coming back." Her violet eyes softened. "That debt," she whispered, "I am happy to repay." Ending the choice. She could not remain at Helier forever. A queen belonged among her people. But she made an offer I never expected. "Come with me," she said. "To your world." "Yes." "That's not exactly a short commute. You would not be prisoner, nor ornament. And what would I be?" "My equal." The words stunned me. "Your council would never accept that. They will learn." I looked at the stars beyond the viewport, at the vastness I had only ever observed from a repair yard. "Why me?" I asked. "Because you saw my ship as alive," she said softly. "And you saw me as more than a throne." That was the truth. I wasn't drawn to her power. I was drawn to her vulnerability. Okay, I said. Her brows lifted slightly. Okay, I'll come. A rare, radiant smile transformed her face. Together, we boarded the Valithar once more. As the docking clamps released and the ship drifted free, I felt no fear, only anticipation. Do you regret it? She asked as Helier shrank behind us. No, I said. You leave your world. I'm not losing it, I replied. I'm expanding it. She studied me thoughtfully. And your heart? She asked. I looked at her, at the queen who had arrived in exile and returned in triumph. I thought I lost it the day you left, I admitted. Her fingers intertwined with mine. But you didn't. No, I said softly. I just sent it ahead. The Valithar entered warp, stars stretching into luminous threads. I had repaired her starship. In doing so, I had given her back her sovereignty. And somewhere along the way, I had given away something far less replaceable. But as we leapt toward her world, toward uncertainty, toward shared rule, toward a future neither of us could fully predict, I realized something profound. Some repairs fix machines. Others fix destinies. And sometimes, when you mend a broken ship beneath alien stars, you don't lose your heart at all. You simply discover where it truly belongs.